taking action for you this morning on TV 20 Detroit starts right now.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Welcome to another edition of PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore, and there's an energy that comes from young people that only comes when you work from one's heart and soul, and no one is doing it more magnificently than Lisa McCall, choreographer extraordinaire. We're sitting in her home base, which is Voyager College Prep in Southwest Detroit, and Lisa is doing something with young people that is so uplifting that we're excited about sharing her journey. Also, Lauren Sanders of the Sunshine Foundation is working with STEM technology and young people, and she knows that coding is not a thing that is a wave of the future. It's here right now. Coding via Code 313.
Hello, I'm Lauren Sanders for PulseBeat. Now I have a question for you. Where can you get AR, AI, VR, 3D design, coding, robotics, and music production exposures? Well, right here at Detroit's Code 313, of course. So come on inside with me and you can learn where all those little letters are actually related to powerful digital technologies that are changing the world.
First, you're going to work with the studio bell, do some stuff in the VR, and then use the assets. Then we're going to go do the drone stuff. Have fun, talk. They're going to do a lot of really fun things with you guys today. And then if we have time, after we have the best pizza in the city, we're going to have a drone relay race. So when you're back there flying, so start thinking about the teams and all that kind of stuff. And then there might be something special at the end of whoever wins that relay.
Code 313 is a nonprofit organization that looks to provide STEM education to the youth and to the kids of Detroit, or most specifically the metro area. And what we try to do is that we try to provide that STEM education to the schools by making it everything that we have accessible to them. So having everything transportable, so our laptops, our VRs, our drones, our robots, is so that we're able to bring that STEAM experience to schools who never experienced STEAM before.
All right, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
So my name is Jovel.
What programs are offered here?
So anything that's STEM related, so whether that be from our robotic course, so we teach kids on how to program the robots, like autonomous vehicles, showing them how a robot could drive through a maze by itself, know when it's too close to a wall, which ways to turn. We teach virtual reality where kids learn how to create their own virtual worlds, and from creating those virtual worlds, they're actually able to implement that onto the headsets and go into the virtual world. So that shows them on how they could design and create their own things and actually show it to other people. So whether that be for architecture, so they could design a whole mansion, and then from there they could show off their mansion, they could pitch their mansion to some people, and then that mansion that they had as a dream could actually become reality. So transforming it from virtual reality to actual reality too.
There's going to be a takeoff button. This is also going to be a land button. Once you press it, there'll be a slider. Go ahead and slide it and you'll take off. All right? So whenever you're ready.
I also noticed that you have a really cool creative space. I would call it like an obstacle course for drones, and you have beautiful artwork from a Detroit artist around that. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that space is designed for and how you use it here?
Yep, so we have our drone area, and our drone area is meant for our students to be able to fly the drones. And the tubing, if you notice in there, the tubing actually represents power lines. So when the drone actually flies, so it actually supposed to show them how they're supposed to fly up the power lines, how narrow it is, how precise it needs to be to fly the drones. Because when they hit that live wire, their drone's gonna fall flat. So it kind of simulates that over there in our drones. So you have it, give a walking animation, and then you actually tie that in with the coding part, which is you can actually code it to actually walk on a certain type of path.
Tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming an instructor here, because you have a unique story.
When I was 16, I'm 21 now, and when I was in high school, I had a field trip, And that field trip took me to the Microsoft building downtown at Campus Martius. And from there, I was able to meet some of the people that work here at Code 313. And actually, I met Bartel, the executive director at Code 313 there too. And my teacher actually talked to Bartel and my other coworker about, you know, we have this student, he's interested in programming and coding. He just like anything that's tech related. And I just want to see if there are any opportunities for him to do anything. And then from there, I was actually brought to another room, and they basically gave me a rundown of what they was going to show the scholars for that day. And instead of them teaching it, I taught it. From here, you should have this. So you're in your editor phase right now.
That is amazing, the same day you taught it. How did you get interested in tech before meeting Bartel of Code 313?
I would say my whole life I've always been interested in tech. When I was younger, you know, I played a lot of video games, and that kind of led me to want to do game design. And so with that, I searched for, you know, the career path to do game design middle school and in high school. And so in high school, I actually got the chance to be in a computer class where I learned how to do Python, learned the in and out of computing, and some other things. And then from there, I kind of branched off into doing software development, and then from software development, teaching other kids on how to program and stuff. And so that led to me not wanting to do, you know, programming anymore, but instead teaching other kids and the youth on how to actually learn how to do programming and learn how to do these things.
But yet you're teaching other young people, right? They're close to your age. What has that been like for you, and what is their reaction? I
say it's a somewhat closer connection, is because they do look at me and be like, how old are you? They usually ask me the question, how old am I? And I always tell them like 60, I'm 60 years old, you know, I'm 40. I be lying to them. But they never believe it though, but it's just a little fun thing that I like to do with them. And so it actually feels like I'm close to them because I know some of the stuff that they do and say, you know, I know the slang and stuff, and I know how they think and react to certain things. And so I feel like it's a closer connection for me to knowing how to do all these things, like teach them how to do robotics, teach them how to do AR, teach them how to do VR, and also being near their age also helps out.
So if a student or a family wanted to get involved here, what would be their first step? What should they do?
So the first step would be to go onto our website. We have a event calendar where we show off all the events that we do. So whether that be from like our workshops that we host here, or certain events that we do at like outside of Beacon Park, for an example, or go out to the different schools, or we host tables, and we just have multiple ways to get engaged in our STEM courses.
Is this a very expensive program?
No, not at all. So most of our programs are low cost and some are free actually. So I would say Code 313 provides the education that kids would need in the future.
As you can see, today was a very special day with the Sunshine Project nonprofit visiting with many of their participants. But you too can visit here. Just log onto their website, code313detroit.org.
PulseBeat. What's happening in entertainment?
I'm sitting at one mic, and even though on Thursday, January 18th, it may be cold in the heart and soul of Detroit, but the hottest place to be is going to be at the official gala grand opening of this nightclub, which is in part owned by legendary actor, comedian Mike Epps. And guess who's going to be center stage at this gala opening on Thursday, January 18th? The Whisperer. See you there.
PulseBeat.
We'll be right back with Lisa McCall and dance the way that only she can give us. There's some amazing things happening in Detroit, and Reverend Horace Sheffield always has his pulse on what is hot and happening. So let's take a listen to Reverend Horace Sheffield as he gives us some insight on why he's an amazing man. We are taping this at one mic, and it is a business that has been empowered by African Americans in the heart and soul of Detroit, Michigan. So I want this audience to know the importance of supporting a black business, which unfortunately is one of only a very few in the heart of this city.
And that was important for us to locate here. As you know, with Detroit 2.0, it's like -1. I mean, we didn't leave this town when everyone else was announcing that they were leaving. And to be in the heart of the business district with this enterprise, and for me to be an investor and a part of this, I mean, I'm glad, I'm hopeful that people will support us, that this will do so well, we can franchise it. But, you know, we need a presence in downtown. There's a group out there claiming that there's MBD, no blacks in downtown. But, you know, this is our town. If we didn't leave, had not left, I mean, because we didn't leave, there was a Detroit to revitalize. If we had left like everyone else, there'd be no Detroit.
You have given these outreaches intellectually, and you now have brought Michael Eric Dyson to the community. What is the importance of bringing someone like a Michael Eric Dyson back to his hometown, Detroit?
Well, it's twofold. One is that beautiful facility that I, developed in honor of my sister, who was an intellectual and educator. And number two, my dad always tried to provide enlightenment for people, so if they knew a better way or were informed about what was really happening to them as a people, that they would act. So having Dr. Dyson and others come and provide information that hopefully leads to transformation and action is very important.
Reverend Sheffield is a legendary figure in his own right, and he represents the organizational genius of black people here in Detroit. I mean, black Detroit has always been unapologetically black, embracing its own roots, understanding its own legacy, extending the trajectory of its importance and influence in the broader world. And so Reverend Sheffield is exemplary of that kind of energy, that kind of intelligence, that kind of introspection, to be able to reflect upon and extend at the same time what you find important.
Now, I've got to ask you this. The internet has been set on fire because of the Katt Williams situation.
And I'm choosing comedians that also write and work hard and don't steal other people's material. And I'm making sure that they all make $300,000 a season. And I'm making sure that they're not ever signed to me or my conglomerate. And that's why they're successful. No, you can work with me and still be an independent businessman, boss owner like you came in.
Right.
I don't need you to be subservient to me. That's those other guys that make you pay dues.
What say you, Michael Eric Dyson? What might be your insight on why what he said has been so engaged by such a large group of people?
I think, first of all, a black man who's highly intelligent and very verbal, telling the truth about what he feels with no filter is a remarkable thing. And despite the fact that we could have the potential to do so on social media, we don't often take advantage of that. People don't tell the truth of what they honestly believe. And as somebody in Anscape said, that he was punching up, he wasn't punching down. He was lobbing bombs at people who were more powerful or equally as powerful as him. Even more money, even more notoriety, even more fame. And he didn't hesitate to punch up. He didn't hesitate to reach out. Now, most of the people he mentioned are friends of mine, so I have deep and profound respect for Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart. I love them, Mike Epps. I love all those men. And I think that, look, if there is some kind of internecine squabble or some kind of disagreement, fine for them to air it out. But I don't take any less recognition. I don't accept any less recognition or have any less respect for any of those gentlemen because of what Katt Williams said. Katt Williams told his truth. They have their truths to tell as well. But what set the internet on fire, I think, was the fact that he was open and articulate about his viewpoints. And certainly, his tours have sold out pretty quickly, and he's revived his career in one fell swoop.
For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, can we take some of this step and fetch out, and then I can do it? Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? Mm-hmm. And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem, and then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was, and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, again, I'm on the winning side of these.
Here's an important message from the U.S. Med Diabetes Solution Center. If you have diabetes, you know the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce your pain right away. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. So call us right now to see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no cost. US Med. Better service. Better care.
What's happening in entertainment?
I'm sitting at one mic, and even though on Thursday, January 18th, it may be cold in the heart and soul of Detroit, but the hottest place to be is going to be at the official gala grand opening of this nightclub, which is in part owned by legendary actor, comedian Mike Epps. And guess who's going to be center stage at this gala opening on Thursday, January 18th? The Whisperers. See you there. I'm in the auditorium of the Detroit Institute of Arts, where we're going to introduce you to the inspiration that Lisa McCall's Holiday Detroit will give us.
So many shows come around the holiday season. We get great musicals, great Broadway shows every year around the holiday season. But most of us are in the audience. Everybody cannot afford to move to New York, LA, or any other place. Why do we have to move away to have great productions? I want to do Broadway style quality productions in Detroit. And why start with someone 30 or 40? When you got kids that have talent too. So I want these kids to do New York level work and New York level caliber shows at home in Detroit.
When I think of the great choreographers, and that list would of course include Katherine Dunham, Martha Graham, Alvin Ailey, Arthur Mitchell, Judith Jamison, you're on that list. And your expertise is working with young people, and how apropos for us to be seated now talking to you at your home base at Voyager College Prep High School in the heart and soul of Southwest Detroit, Michigan. Why young people as compared to not so young people?
Well, when I was growing up, I had some great people that were my mentors that shaped my life, from Clifford Fears, working with Miss Dunham, working with Mr. Ailey, working with Arthur Mitchell. And we had, through Coleman Young, we had a performing arts program called Festival of the Arts. And even before Festival of the Arts, we had Detroit Council of the Arts. We no longer have programs that are pre-professional based for young artists. And those are life-changing opportunities that I had growing up. And Detroit is the entertainment mecca for artists. We have some of the best artists that come from Detroit. And I don't want people to always think that they have to go to New York, they have to go to LA, they got to go to Philadelphia to great training. So I wanted to take my experience and provide opportunities for young people to showcase their talent. And I just wanted to give back. I mean, I come from me, Ollie Jackson, James Carter, Kern Brantley, all of us was young, gifted people that had these different platforms. All of us became successful because somebody professionally gave us opportunities. I wanted to do the same thing here in Detroit.
So let us know who this international icon who saw something in you when you were very young that did for you what you're doing right now for young people.
None other than the Queen of Soul herself, Detroit's own Miss Aretha Franklin. I was at Festival of the Performing Arts under Kim Weston, and at the time my teacher, later my mentor, was Clifford Fears, who at the time was Miss Franklin's choreographer. And she did one of her famous parties, lawn parties, and she needed dancers. At the time, I think I was like 12 or 13, I was young. And I remember him going to Aretha and saying, Miss Franklin, I got this really great dancer. She's just young. Since you're having a lawn party, everybody else is older, but can I please use her? She's an amazing dancer. And the rest is history. It started through Clifford Fields.
And Aretha, a lot of people don't realize, was very particular about dancing, because she even told me, she said that had I not been this singer, I would have loved to have been a ballerina. And she worked with the best, though, because I know that she worked with Louis Johnston.
Louis Johnston, George Faison, even Debbie Allen over the years.
But nobody worked with Aretha longer than you. Nobody. So that is part of your impressive resume.
I bring in professional artists and choreographers and lighting directors, sound engineers. I teach my kids, like I do quizzes on how to do a writer, how to do a technical writer, how to do a budget, how to do wardrobe, revenue, ticket sales. I work hands-on in every aspect of entertainment with my kids, and then I say, these are real jobs. How to do a budget, how to do choreography, how to create, how to take movement from the classroom to the stage. And I think as time go on and they see it coming together, they get excited. They don't come in excited. This is not a performing arts school. So kids don't take dance as seriously, or music or theater like they would at the Detroit School of the Arts. So that passion comes from me. And then I help them find the fire in them. I give them real productions, not like little recitals. And I think it's a harder sell than back in the day. We wanted to dance. We live, eat, breathe dance. Whereas this generation, it's hip hop, it's hip hop, it's hip hop, which is okay. But I expose them to African dance, Brazilian dance, Haitian dance, praise dance, tap dance. I let them do hip hop, and then they find the beauty of movement and they voice in the movement. Then they find the respect for dance, and then they realize that they can do it when they see the audience clapping and coming for them. I got the whole basketball team. So now everybody wants to dance because of my passion and respect for it, and they found the beauty in it. Whereas back in the day, it didn't take much. With the boys, they become more open to African dance, and then moving into like praise dance until they get the beauty of it, and then they're open to dance because a lot of the athletes, I explain to them, take dance. And so it's the intense stretching, understanding the storyline of the movement. Then it's an easier sell, but just having boys wanting to dance just because it's dance, no. But again, it's what I offer. I know how they think, so I start with African dance and rhythms, slide into hip hop, and then praise dance, and then I can teach them any form of dance and they're okay with it. The beauty of Katherine Dunham, she gave black dance its beauty, because years ago, anything that moved from the waist down, anything from the waist up was restricted, so that was considered beautiful because that was classical. Everything was very rigid. Whereas traditional dance, from the waist down, you might move your hips, and they looked at black dance as not beauty. And Katherine Dunham gave black dance on mainstream media, mainstream stage. She gave black dance its beauty. The problem was, light-skinned dancers was the only ones that they wanted to be in Miss Dunham's company. And she said, no, I want some of the dark-skinned girls, because she brought the Caribbean and the African movement over to the United States. So she gave black dance its beauty from moving from the waist down. Now getting into classical dance, they looked at our bodies because maybe our thighs was not as thin, or our bottoms wasn't as small in their eyes, so our bodies wasn't considered beautiful enough to do classical. No, our bodies was made for us, and the movement that they was doing was not our movement. constricted for us. And what Arthur Mitchell did, or maybe he was the one that gave us our just due, he started getting more dancers and choreographers that found the beauty of the way our bodies was made and how our stories was told through our bodies using classical music and classical form. And that our bodies and movements was just as beautiful as any other culture, but they constricted to our bodies. And it was important for Dance Theater of Harlem to be created to show that our black girls, our brown girls can be just as beautiful doing Giselle or any of these other ballets that was created for our bodies. And that's the beauty. We can do it just as well, if not better, with soul.
Young people may be watching this, but I want you to communicate it from the waist up. And I want you to do it through movement. And then I want you to tell us, what did you communicate to these young people who are watching through some movement? So just do it just
here and then everything in me, I pass on to you. Simple as that.
Wow, and guess what you're passing on? When I felt this movement, I felt that you were passing on L-O-V-E, love.
Which is a universal language.
Thank you, Lisa McCall. You are legendary and you are a blessing.
Thank you.
To not only Detroit, but to the world of dance.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of PULSEBEAT with Greg Dunmore, and remember, each one, teach one, reach one. Thanks for watching. Until the next go round. PULSEBEAT.